Metroid Dread is one of my top 5 Switch games. It's an absolutely superb game that's so well made, it's kinda insane. And this is all very well documented on the internet, but something that goes a little undernoticed are the bosses in the game. So I decided to make a video ranking all 12 of them, because that's how many there are in the boss rush mode, and if the game says that these are the bosses, well, I'll follow suit. But yeah, let's get to dead last. Escu isn't god-awful. I actually like certain aspects of the fight, like this one attack it does where it shoots this black orb at you, and the projectile will either fizz out when it reaches a surface, or create an electric field depending on if it hits a wall or a floor. And I think that's neat. Leads to some pretty cool moments where you're trying to get into the best position to punish the boss, and if you fail you get punished yourself by having to scramble in the air for a bit, and probably get hit with a different attack. I like the game flow since all of its attacks home in on you. It makes this pattern where you're baiting the boss and then punishing it. But there's two problems. One, this gets really stale after a while of attacking since it only has 3 attacks. And 2, the boss spends like half the fight being invincible. So instead of the bait and punish gameplay being the main focus, it's instead bait and then run away and sometimes punish. It's just not that satisfying for this type of game in my opinion. The Artaria Central unit just doesn't have enough to do to really pose a threat, even when Samus is at such a low power level. The Ferenia Central unit is just the first Central unit fight, but you're both more powerful. Leads to a slightly more engaging fight. I do like how you can just screw attack it to instantly kill it after its armor is destroyed though, that's kinda funny. Golzuna is fine. It's got a weird amount of projectile attacks for a big, bulky monster, but it's fine. Corpius is a really good starting boss, even if he's pretty basic. The first and second phases are very, very simple, but the spectacle of fighting this giant creature for the first time is probably enough for a first player. The third phase is actually pretty cool though. I like hanging on the wall to avoid different attacks, then quickly going back down to avoid a tail stab. It's great, but the fight is weighed down by its other phases. Twin Robot Chozo Soldier is a repeat of a previous fight, but in a new arena, and now there's 2 of them. But weirdly enough, this fight feels much easier. It's definitely not a cakewalk, but with your Ice and Storm missiles doing much more damage than your normal missiles in the last fight, and Flash Shift allowing you to avoid them much easier, it's a lot more simple to defeat them, kinda losing what I like about the original. But I do like this in its own way, now kind of feeling like a power trip, being able to defeat a double version of a past boss and it being easier, and that can be very satisfying. But the bigger arena also makes it easier to run circles around them, and they don't exactly work together as like a double boss, like most double bosses should, so it could be a lot better. Experiment number Z-57 might be a bit surprising to see only barely make it into the top half, as it has incredible attack variety, keeping the battle engaging at every turn. But I don't know. The boss itself has an amazing design, and some attacks are really cool, like the one that allows you to Shine Spark him, but everything just feels just too cinematic. Like, it's not focused on being a good fight, but a good action scene. Like, the counter animation is one of the most flashy in the game, but it goes on for forever, and it just feels a little hollow to me. I like the fight, don't get me wrong, but I definitely like other fights more. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I really like Dragia. I like optimizing how fast I can shoot these 2 buttons by charging my charge shot on the grabbable ceiling, or just by getting into position quickly. It's a really satisfying fight to master. Jumping over its weird tentacle things can be hectic, and shooting the falling energy balls is pretty cool too. It doesn't have an amazing design, but I think it's a great boss nonetheless. It might be weird seeing Robot Chozo Soldier so high, but I adore this thing's AI. Ducking and weaving between its energy shots, predicting how it's going to dash at you, exploiting the fact that it has to get close to you before it can attack you. It's all great stuff, and it's really hard for a new player, but is so very satisfying to beat. Kraid making a surprise appearance in this game was really cool. Now, how the hell is he here? I have no idea, but it's still pretty neat. The first phase is really basic, just shooting projectiles out of the air and attacking Kraid's mouth, but the second phase is where it's at. Timing your charge shots perfectly so you shoot both the weird donut thing and the weak spot at the same time, incredibly satisfying. The frantic movement, if you fail, can also be pretty fun, and his counterattack animation is one of my favorites in the game. They're all great, but this one especially is. I love the Elite Chozo Soldier fight because of what it represents. The first phase is very rhythm based. Charge up storm missiles while its guard's up, shoot it when it goes down, dodge when it attacks, repeat. It almost feels like a dance of some sort. But then the thing goes feral and all that goes out the window. It's spewing black liquid at you that you have to weave around. No more guard allows you to attack it at any time. It's an amazing example of telling story through both visuals and gameplay, even for something as simple as the penultimate boss. Ravenbeak might be my favorite video game villain of all time, but it's a toss-up between him and Wind Waker Ganon. His boss fight in Metroid Dread is also one of my favorite boss battles of all time, joining the ranks of Dark Bowser in Inside Story and Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2. But what makes it good? Well, pretty much everything. In his first phase, he's entirely invincible, but why do I like this when I criticize SQ for being partly invincible? Well, simple. Ravenbeak is a threat to Samus, some random electric bug isn't. This phase is fun, it allows you to learn most of his attacks he's going to use in phase 3, and if you get bored of just dodging and countering his red attack, you can destroy these projectiles for some resources. He sprouts his wings in phase 2, and this part is so hectic and fun it's insane. All his attacks are lightning quick, but still have very obvious tells, making you need incredibly fast reaction time, and it's amazing to finally nail. His attacks have so much variety, and they're all just perfect, and they're all just the perfect amount of flashy. The animation is just so good, especially when Samus gets knocked into the wall. You feel that in your gut. It's incredible. Phase 3 grounds him and he basically superpowers all his phase 1 attacks, even using a version of Samus' Shine Spark Wario style. He conjures a sun which you can destroy with a power bomb. His counter animation is even more crazy. It's all so good. Easily one of the greatest boss battles ever, and that's not up to debate. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully I did a decent job. I do have something to announce before we leave though. On the 24th, I will be releasing my first Nutty Reviews Direct, a little showcase I'm making to announce future videos and go over channel updates, and that Direct will also go over why I changed the name of the channel. So I hope you look forward to that. But yeah, hopefully I come up with an incredibly iconic catchphrase next time, and I'll see you later. Bye!